Okay, so now that we have everything set up with the simulator, the next step is to actually set it up so that we can deploy an application to the simulator. And then I'm going to tell you about a workaround for Air 2.6 because Adobe Flash Builder 4.5 requires a minimum of 2.6 version of Air, where the simulator in the device actually runs 2.5, Air 2.5. So I'll get to that in a minute, but first off, I'm just going to set it up so that we can actually deploy an application or attempt to deploy an application to the simulator. We're going to open up the run and open up debug configurations, and then we're going to create a new mobile application option here. Select mobile application and then hit the plus sign here. And then it'll automatically select the current project that we have open. So you can select your target platform. Right now we're gonna do BlackBerry Tablet OS. And we're gonna, for now, just for quick test, we're gonna say on desktop. And so this actually won't run in the simulator. This will just be like a regular Air application that you debug. So I mean, I'll give you a quick view of what that's like. So if we click the debug option here, it'll compile our application, which is pretty much empty at the moment. So it's just blank, and it'll open it up in the ADL player, which runs Air applications for debug applications for Air. And so we'll just close that and go back into the run debug configurations menu. And now this time we'll say on a device. Okay, so there's no devices configured. So in order to configure it to run in the simulator, we'll need to click on the configure button, and the default debug host IP will be the IP address of your computer. It should automatically get that. If it has issues, you may need to enter that in. But it should be there already. So now we're going to need to add the device name IP. So this could be the device of an actual BlackBerry tablet or the simulator. If you're going to do it with the tablet, you're going to need a debug token, and I'll get into that later. But for now, we're just going to do the simulator. So click the add button, and we'll just give it a name. We'll say my sim and device IP. So to get the device IP, we need to go over to the simulator, and we'll click on this debug icon, and it'll give us the IP address. And so I'm just going to move this over here so I can see it. We'll move back in here and just enter that IP address. So 192.168.127.128. And the password is going to be the password of the simulator, which was playbook, all lowercase. So we'll type in playbook, all lowercase. We'll save that so we don't have to keep entering and typing it in all the time. We'll use the default debug host that our computer's already at. If you're switching networks a lot, you might need to go in and change that. But if you're in one location, it should automatically be set for you. And we're not going to worry about a debug token because it's not needed for the simulator. We'll say OK. Okay, so then we're gonna select OK and click Apply to save our settings, and click Debug. And we'll sit back, and it'll compile the application, and it should shoot that over to the simulator. So we'll just take a look at the simulator here, and we'll just patiently wait. Okay, I see the icon. Awesome. It opens it up. Oh, and it shut down. So, like I was saying before, there's a bit of an issue with the version of Air that the simulator and the device run versus the version of Air that Flash Builder 4.5 uses. All right, so in order to do the workaround for Air 2.5, we're going to need to go into your project settings, or properties rather, and we're going to go into this next option here called ActionScript Compiler. So this will give you some arguments that you can pass to the compiler. All right, so we're going to enter in an earlier version here, swf-version, the 2.5 uses. So you type in just like this, swf-version equals 10, and we'll apply that. Okay, and then the next option we need to enter is within the BlackBerry settings within Flash Builder. So we'll type BlackBerry up here, and it'll bring up BlackBerry Tablet OS, and it'll bring us to the options for BlackBerry Tablet OS. And we'll move all the way down here to the Advanced tab. In the Advanced tab, we're going to force it to use Air 2.5. So we'll type in forceAirVersion 2.5. Just like that. We'll apply it, and we'll say OK. And we'll give it another try. Now that we tried to debug it before, our debug option is here. It's already saved, so we just have to hit this little bug icon, and it'll shoot that over to the simulator because we have that already configured. All right, so here we go. We actually have a running application with absolutely nothing in it, but at least it didn't crash this time. We know it works. So we can exit that now. And the simulator is a little choppy here for some reason, probably because I'm recording a video. But we'll go back here to Flash Builder, and we'll set up our Hello World application. So the first thing I want to do for this Hello World application is use some of the QNX components. So BlackBerry, they acquired a company called QNX, which the BlackBerry tablet runs, the QNX operating system. And so they have a set of components available for Flash, for Air, which are optimized for touch interaction and for tablet interaction. So they have a lot of typical components that you would use. And so in order to access those QNX components, we need to link those libraries into our project. So we'll go back up to our project properties panel, and we'll go back down to the ActionScript build path. Okay, so now in order to use these components, we need to link in the QNX BlackBerry components. In order to do that, we need to add the SWIC files, the library files that contain code, compiled code for us to use within our project. So we're going to browse. Well, I'm already there, but I'll show you how to get there. You go to your applications directory, you go to Flash Builder 4.5, and we'll scroll down to the SDKs directory, BlackBerry Tablet SDK, and scroll down again to the frameworks directory and open up libs. And so this is where all the SWIC files are. We only need a few of them. The first one we need is in this BlackBerry directory called BlackBerry SWIC. We'll open that, say OK, and then we're going to add another SWIC. Luckily this time we're already in the right place, so we can just go down to the QNX screen SWIC, and we'll open that and include that as well. And the last thing that we're going to need, and now I should note that if you're using if you're going to be using the Hero Flex 4.5 framework, you don't necessarily need these libraries, but I like to use them. I really like the QNX components. But so the last one we need is in this Air directory, and it's called, we'll scroll down here, QNX Air SWIC. So I mean, for some reason, this particular SWIC, when you link it in, if you compile it into your merge code, sometimes depending on what you're doing, it'll give you an error. So you need to change the way this links in so that it's external, just for this one QNX Air SWIC. Everything else is fine to be merged in. So we'll say OK. And so now that we have those linked in. If we look over to our reference libraries, we should see those. Well, at least we see the two. I may need to link that other one in again. Sometimes you got to do it twice for whatever reason. So if we just jump back in here, yeah, it's not there. So we just add the SWIC again, browse, and go in and link in QNX error again. It's kind of stubborn sometimes, but so just make sure sometimes if it's not there, you need to go in and do it again. And let's say external, okay, and we'll say okay. Hopefully this time, there we go. This time it's stuck. So if that ever disappears, just make sure you have those three. I'm just gonna do something really simple here. This is just a simple hello world application. So I'm just gonna create a new label. And it's going to be a QNX label component. Create the new label, just like that, and we're going to add this label to the display list, so it shows up on our screen. And one more thing I'm going to do. Well, if we want to be able to see it, we need to give it a string here to show up. So we'll say the text equals hello playbook. And so that it's not just stuck up in the top corner, I'm just going to give an XY. So we'll say this equals 100 and go 100. And that should do it. So now the label will show up 100 pixels over, 100 pixels down, and we should be able to see it fine. So we'll save this, and we will hit the debug button. And we'll go over to the simulator and wait for it to deploy that. All right, so we have a hello playbook label there. The label, it's a little small. We need to increase the width to fit it all. So we'll just quickly do that. So we'll just do that real quick. We'll go label width equals 500. That should be plenty big, and that should do it. Wait for that to launch again. Hello playbook. There we go.